I'm Susan Cantor. I live here in Granville, and I've been attending the Granville Chapel since 2009.
All the way my Savior leads me.
I grew up in a Jewish family where there was a lot of beautiful devotion and observance, but really not much about having a personal relationship with God. I don't know that that's a general truth, but in our congregation that was the case, and in our family as well. And as I started to believe that there was a God, that there was a higher power, and that I wanted a relationship with God, that was about when I went to Mexico and to teach English and learn more Spanish down there. And I saw the beautiful devotional faith of the people there, the passion for Jesus. And that attracted me, and I started to feel like I wanted to be a follower of Jesus long before I knew what the gospel was or what that meant. As an academic, a professor, and longtime student, I was kind of skeptical. I didn't really see how faith and intellect could be on a path together. And eventually, I went to a retreat where I accepted Christ, and that made everything different for me. It wasn't just an intellectual belief anymore. I really saw that Christ chose me as his disciple, and I started to explore what that meant. For me, as a Jewish believer, I would say that my knowledge of Jewish holidays, or sometimes they're called feasts among Christians, and Jesus' life as a Jew have really informed my faith and the way that I worship God, and it's been amazing to see those traditions come together. So I was convicted by the time I moved to Ohio that a local church would be best for me. And I was attending church in Columbus for a while. It was a very nice, large church, but I really wanted to be closer to home. I wanted to invite friends I worked with and socialized with to church with me, and I wanted to feel that I could interact with others in the church, in our community. And so I went to the chaplain of a university nearby where I was teaching and asked him to help me find a church that was grounded in Reform theology and also alive in the Spirit. And he immediately said the Granville Chapel, and I felt those dimensions the first time I came and never wanted to go anywhere else. I feel like my life as an academic and an intellectual and my heart desire to have intimacy with God are really satisfied here. And that's why I'm so glad that I found this church. The things I love about the Granville Chapel are numerous and large and wonderful. I really enjoy the preaching. I find it to be deep and really geared toward the truth, the scriptural truth, and the application of how we live out the scriptures in our lives. I feel like truth-telling is very big at our church with love and compassion. And I find that to be true in the small groups I've been in, especially Bible studies. We can really tell truth to each other in a loving way. I think it's a very participatory church, from the worship and the opportunities for kids and youth to participate to, the opportunities to volunteer, our attention to local and global missions. All of those things are ways that I have been able to participate in church, and that means a lot to me. As a single individual, I feel fully included and embraced by the church, and there are lots of opportunities for me to grow spiritually here. I've made friends with people older and younger than myself, which has been great, and even gotten to interact with our children, whether it's through Vacation Bible School or helping out with our youth group. I feel like it's a fully rounded and loving community. In terms of spiritual growth, I've learned so much about Reformed theology. I really didn't know much about R.C. Sproul and Ligonier Ministries and the Bible study I'm in. The people are very wise about those things. I've learned a lot. I've learned a lot about prayer. And also, I realized since I came here that there were some basic gaps in my understanding of Christian topics. Pastor Dan has been great from the beginning questions I had, like why do we have communion? Why do we participate with Christ in this particular way? To giving me verses to think on and ponder on regarding my personal issues in life. And I also feel like I've grown in grace, understanding grace, extending grace. That's a phrase friends here at church use a lot. We can learn to extend grace to each other. And I've learned a lot about why missions exist beyond just the Great Commission to help more people learn about Christ, but to help people and support people in Christian communities near us and farther away too. And all of that has become part of my spiritual learning. So as I think about our church's future, I think about more opportunities to serve, more opportunities to become part of the Granville, Newark, and greater community around us, more opportunities to learn more about what it means to be a Christian, and just, I think a lot about growth. You know, I think a lot of church conversation in general, especially in the US, I guess, revolves around growth, but what does it really mean to grow? And I guess what it means to me is more opportunities to interact with others and enlarge ourselves and the body. And not growth for the sake of growth, but growth because I believe we have something here at church that others are seeking that we can offer. And we need to grow a little bit, whether it's in the building, in hiring an associate pastor, in more parking, that we can offer more of those opportunities. And when I think about the future of the church, I also think about listening to sermons online and how we're laying down lessons, teaching what we breathe into our children in Kids Rock, our Sunday school. We're working toward a future all the time, a future of faith. I forgot to say how much I love the music. Don't fail to do that.
Who have I to ask beside?